Taquitos. Taquitos are breakfast, lunch for breakfast. Great. Cereal, cinnamon toast crunch. He got specifics with his cereal. You see that, Benny? It's all about the specifics. Starbucks roasted ham sandwich. Ooh, that sounds good. Hey, you guys should all throw away your cereal. I don't even count that as breakfast. Cereal is like the least satisfying thing ever. You got to eat a whole box to get full. Ooh, pancakes sound good. See, that's a breakfast. Yeah, midnight snack is when cereal is good. Does anyone just like eating their cereal dry? Yeah, like, I think cereal tastes so much better dry. Like, think about it. Who thought of the idea? Like, let's just pour milk over this delicious, crunchy stuff and make it soggy. Bad idea.
Y'all crazy. Y'all crazy.
All right, cool guys. So, welcome to Key Staff. Can everybody see my screen nice and clear? All right, perfect. Hey guys, so good morning again. Welcome to the Key Staff meeting. I'm really excited to work with this group on a bi-weekly basis. The purpose of Key Staff is to start the development funnel in our division, and everything starts here at Key Staff. Like, I remember coming to my first Key Staff meeting, and by the way, if this is like your first Key Staff event, you were invited here by your manager. Either A, you're being a sales leader in the office, or B, they think you could become a potential leader in the office and in the business. So we're going to start working on a lot of skills. We're going to be working on things from your sales skills. We want to help you guys be able to sell at a high level, so that way you guys can make your mark and get into the Leadership Academy. Some of you guys are in the Leadership Academy and are here just to sharpen up your skills. So that's fantastic too. And then we're also want to work on like some personal development stuff. So you guys are going to be hearing from Christina James later on about some things like that. But I'm excited to get started. Now, as you guys know, with all South Coast Division events, we want 100% engagement. So that means cameras on, even if you're like have your morning bedhead, even if you just woke up, it's okay. All right, we're all a family here. So cameras on, make sure you guys are showing that you're engaged and you're paying attention. And leaders that are 100% engaged, they seek the best practices. So this is a great chance to start building up your circle, right? Like, I know there's some veterans on here like Leo, and then I know like Tyler and Rebecca. They've sold some Cutco and they've learned a lot about the business. So this is a great place to start building that circle and connecting with some fine individuals and figuring out what's working the best in our division. And then be hungry for growth. That's why you guys are here. Right. And again, I want to applaud you guys because you definitely do not have to be here on a Saturday morning. I totally get it. Like, an extra hour of sleep would have done wonders, right? Or an extra bowl of cereal right now. But I applaud you guys for being here because it shows that you're hungry to grow and you guys are ready to excel at the next level. And then I want to help everybody provide some more personal clarity, right? That's why Tommy is going to be talking about dropping down. Right. And dropping down, I know that was one of my areas in the business that I never was fully clear on how to do that the right way. Right. Like has anybody ever like been with a customer and you're like, am I talking too much? Right. Should I stop now? Should I keep going? Right. So hopefully Tommy will be able to clear that up for you guys. I did just wanted to give some quick recognition to the leaders in the division. On the left side right here, this is the overall division top 25. So this is our super 25, and that includes all the CSPs and the FSMs in the business. And I put this up here to show you guys the level that people are selling Cutco at right now. So if you ever had any doubts, any ounces of doubt in your mind, like, do people buy Cutco? There's a pandemic. Are people really shopping right now? Well, look at Matt Graves. $77,000 so far. We're only a month and a half into the fall campaign, followed by Eric Gilman and then all those top guys right there. I know Daniel Reeder, he's in my office personally. He's already at $10,000 for this week right now that we're in. So that's just to shine the light for some of you guys right there. But let's look over here with where most of you guys are going to be right here in the top 15, or well, I guess it's the top 25 in the division with new reps over here on the right side. So we have Taylor Sorensen leading over there in North San Diego. So good job right there. Give him a round of applause. All right, so that's super exciting. Then we followed by Christy. Then we have Gabrielle, and then JR. We have Mitchell. We have Jacob. We have Kevin. We have Cherie. We have Evan. We have Emily. We have Delaney. We have Caitlin. We have Sebastian, Logan, and Abigail. I'm just gonna recognize the top 15 for right now, but that's super exciting. And I want you guys to look at some of these numbers. Like that's crazy. Jacob Rice and Kevin, you guys have a tie. Look at that. They're tied in CPO. So you just need to sell like one CPO to take the lead. All right. So I think that's super cool, but it gets really close. And then some of you guys are probably looking at this list and you're actually not that impressed. And I think that's okay. Right. You're like, oh, I'm just an ultimate set away from being in the top 5. Right. So let's continue to grind. This is what Evan looks at on a weekly basis. He's like, all right, who are my top 15 new reps in the division? Right, that's where he's going to focus a lot of his attention on. So let's get you on that list. All right, now just so you guys know what we've covered so far in the key staff meetings, most of these have been recorded. So if you guys like need help getting access to these, just reach out to your managers one-on-one. But like last key staff, Lindsay was talking about unlimited resources. So building recommendations, names lists, and your personal brand. Today, you guys are going to be learning about dropping down from Tommy, and then emotional intelligence from Christina. And then on Halloween, all right, at Halloween, same time, same place, all that great stuff. We're going to be doing, you're going to be learning from the Las Vegas district manager, Bianca Rodriguez, on building rapport and sharing goals. And I know you guys are like, John, really on Halloween? What time does Halloween really start? Like 9 p.m. All right, like this starts at 9 a.m. All right, so we're still gonna work on Halloween, and you should definitely do demos on Halloween. It's one of the best days because you get free candy with all your appointments. All right, well I guess we're virtual, but tell your customers to send you some candy. All right, cool. So now I want to bring up our first speaker. All right, our fantastic Henderson district manager, Thomas Keelan. I don't know if he wants me to call him Thomas or Tommy. I call him Tommy. I like Tommy better. But just to brag about Tommy real quick, he's one of the top sales representatives on the district manager team. Right? Like there's all the district managers. This guy knows how to sell some freaking blades. Here's the reason why I asked Tommy to give this message. He's had 25 orders in 1 week. Is anybody curious on how to do that? 25 orders in a week. So I'm just going to leave it right there. Tommy, go ahead and take it over and teach these guys how to drop down like a boss.
All right. Hey guys. So thanks Baker for the introduction. I appreciate you. And yeah, so I'm Thomas Keelan, go by Tommy. I'm the Henderson district manager, and something that that I've been blessed to be able to talk to you guys about is something that I've always been really good at, is this concept of dropping down the right way, right? Tailoring to your customer and such. And, you know, I coined the nickname Two-Piece Tommy. So some of the people on my team might have heard this before, but, you know, when I would do shows and events and when I'd go on demos, they'd call me Two-Piece Tommy, because they knew no matter what, when I was dropping down and when I was showing the customer all the options, that I was going to close on what? On at least 2 pieces, right? And so they gave me that nickname because I was so good at dropping down, showing them all the options. And I knew mentally, no matter what, that I was going to close on something. And usually that ended up being a 2-piece special. Okay. So I'm not here to talk to you about how to sell more 2-piece specials or anything like that. I'm here to talk to you about this concept of dropping down and how to drop down the proper way. So there's 3 main keys that I'm going to be talking about today. The first one is your mindset, your mentality. The second is tailoring to your customer. And the third is something that I call soft close hard. All right. And that'll make more sense when I talk about it. I'll just leave it at that. So the first thing I really want to talk about was your mentality. Now understand that this starts before the demo. Okay. This starts before you hop on the Zoom call or anything. So I want you guys to put something down in your notes, like hype yourself up before hopping on that Zoom call and have positive energy, right? Your preparations will directly reflect in what happens during that demo, and your mentality will directly reflect in what happens during that demo. So I remember before every single appointment, I'd be listening, like I'm a metalhead, so I'll be listening to like some metal music. I'm headbanging, I'm like jumping around, I'm just going crazy, and I'm getting my energy up, right? In this virtual world that we live in, like you might not be in the car, like headbanging at a stoplight like I was, okay? So what you guys can do is like, you guys are in your house, you're in your room, just put on some headphones and just get hype up in your room, right? But it's important to have that positive energy and be thinking about everything that could happen on that demo, all the positive things that could happen on that demo, because that's going to reflect directly in what happens during that demo, okay? So I never want you to go into a demo hoping that you're going to make a sale, right? Because hope doesn't close sales and hope doesn't pay the bills. Okay. I've never had a customer buy because I really hope that they would. So everything I do or say on an appointment is done with intentionality. Everything I do or say on an appointment is done with intentionality. Okay. The whole point is that they will buy Cutco from me. Right? And I know in my mind that they will buy Cutco from me. Why? Right? How do I know? And some of you might have had that situation where you're like, I'm not sure if this customer is going to buy Cutco. And so I want to help shift your mentality. Understand that every customer is going to love Cutco because it's freaking Cutco, baby. Every customer is going to love Cutco, and every customer has the ability to buy Cutco. Everyone on this freaking call has the ability to buy Cutco. All right, think about it. I'm not talking about a homemaker set even. I'm talking about like, think about a trimmer on a toupee that's $43. That's like $1.50 a day. Has anybody spent $1.50 in a day before? Okay, great. All of you can buy Cutco. Right, so shifting is to where like, hey, every single customer has that purchasing ability, even just a cutting board, right? 33 bucks. That's literally $1 a day. So I want you to really change your view of money here. So think about like, if you guys can afford $1.50 a day, like think about, a lot of you are like college students, right? 18 to 24, wherever you're at in life. But if you think about like you guys remember in training, like your expenses versus a homeowner's expenses, like a homeowner's expenses, like $6,000 to $10,000 a month, right? Their view of money is different. So if you can rationalize, hey, I could probably spend $1.50 a day on a trimmer, then think about them, right? They could spend at least on 2 pieces, 3, 4, 5 pieces at least, if you build up the value the right way and drop down the proper way. Now, not every customer is going to, but it's important that you show them those options, and we'll talk about that. But now that you understand that every single person you talk to on a demo, regardless of what their financial situation, can buy Cutco in some shape or form, then every demo is no longer about if they're going to buy, but what they're going to buy. So again, now that you understand that every single person you talk to on a demo, regardless of what their financial situation is, can buy Cutco in some shape or form, regardless of what their financial situation is, then every demo is no longer about if they're going to buy, but what they're going to buy. So it's all a matter of showing them the value of the purchase, right? Everybody loves their favorite radio station, WIIFT, right? What's in it for them? So you have to show them like what's in it for them. So whether that be an ultimate set, which I'm sure all of you know how to promote, right? And if not, be on more key staff meetings. Or a buy 3, get 1 free special, or a homemaker or a galley set, or them just getting a cutting board today, right? Some of you might be like, how do I sell them on a cutting board? You want to make your customers feel confident in purchasing whatever they're getting. You want to emphasize what's in it for them. And I'll talk more about what's in it for them when I get to the last part of my talk here. So speaking of confidence, by the way, have confidence, right? So have it. Remember that this is your demo. You are in control, so act like a professional, all right? So again, dress like one, talk like one, and everything that's happening on that demo is supposed to be happening. So talk to your customer like you know what the heck is going on, all right? And when I say dress like one, talk like one, you don't have to go full suit and booted, but make sure that you look well, make sure that you're dressed professionally. And make sure you're talking like a professional and know what you're doing and when to do it. Guys, you know the structure of the demo. You know what's going to be happening when. You know when you're going to be playing videos. You know what's coming up because you have your manual up. So act that way, right? Act like you're act the part, act the pro. Know where you're coming from. And good way to do this is just having leading words like, "Hey, you should see blank," or "You should see this." "Hey, Ms. Jones, do you see this? Perfect. We're in the right spot," right? "Mrs. Jones, I completely understand. That's why blank," right? No worries. Let me show you what a lot of my customers like to do. So you guys notice that these are very confident. I know what's happening and I'm directing the conversation, right? I'm not pushing them. I'm just leading them in a low-key way. So closing every time on every demo starts with you and your mentality, all right? Now, the second key I wanted to talk about is tailoring to your customer. So when tailoring to your customer, understand that every demo will be different. Every customer situation will be different, but that doesn't mean that every demo shouldn't follow the same structure. I'll say that again. Every demo will be different. Every customer's situation will be different, but that doesn't mean every demo shouldn't follow the same structure. You guys might be wondering, what do you mean by following the same structure, Tommy? Just follow the freaking manual. Just follow the freaking manual. So guys, it's set up to make you successful and will make you successful. It's designed, get this, to close sales. You know, we've only had like 70 plus years or so to perfect how to close a sale. And you guys might wonder, like, why was I called Two-Piece Tommy? It's because I show them all of the piece specials. And think about every demo that you've ever done. I can guarantee you there's been a couple of them where you haven't shown them all of the piece specials. You probably showed them one or two of them, but you don't always get to show all of them. And so I want to talk to you guys about how to show them confidently. And so this starts after you ask for the homemaker. And again, always ask, no matter what, when you ask for the homemaker, that question, right? That's so important. If you don't mind me asking, what is it about the homemaker set you're unsure of? Because that sets up the entire rest of the demo. Handling that objection confidently is a big determining factor as to how the rest of the demo is going to go and how large of an order that you're going to close. So you have to know what to do, when to do it, and how to do it, right? I'm gonna be honest with you guys. The secret to learning this is time, right? Make more calls, do more demos. I guarantee you after you do like 50 demos, you're gonna be really, really good at dropping down, all right? If you're not at 50 demos yet, get to 50 demos. If you've already done 50 demos, get to 100, right? Get to 150, get to 200, right? But the point is you want to talk to more customers because that's going to help you to implement a lot of what I'm talking about and get a lot better, a lot more quickly. And show you, basically you want to be exposed to a lot of situations. So once you're exposed to a lot of different situations, a lot of different customers with different backgrounds, you're going to know how to handle different situations according to what that customer is at, right? So you'll know how to tailor to your customer. And so doing more demos will give you more confidence and with how to change your verbiage to accommodate your specific customer's emotions. Now, also with tailoring your demo, you have to actually listen to what you're saying. Actually listen to what they're saying, excuse me. So don't assume you know what they're trying to say. Get absolute clarity as to where they're coming from and what's going on with them. Here's the key point. Make them feel understood. Now, guys, you guys have heard this before, but there's a difference between hearing what they say and understanding what they say, right? So I don't want you to just be listening for key words, right? So you guys might get into that trap where they're like, oh, you know, this is a lot of money. And then you just completely tune everything else out. And you're like, oh, okay, I know I need to handle the too much money, it's expensive objection. No, I listen to every single word that they say. I try to understand their thought process as a whole and ask questions to clarify if needed. So again, you want to understand the thought process as a whole and ask questions to clarify. Because when I understand the thought process as a whole, I can talk with them about it and come more from a consulting manner. Hey, I'm so sorry. That you had to pay for what you had to pay for, right? It sucks that, the house, that's crazy, right? Hey, if you don't mind, I can still show you some of the other options that might be more within your budget, right? But you see that I'm tailoring to the customer first. Hey, I completely understand, right? Whatever the situation is, it's going to be a little bit different every time. But then I go into, what I'm talking about. Hey, no worries. There's no pressure to get this. Let me show you the next one, right? And so I just want to let you guys know it's okay to ask questions. Okay. I don't know if you guys ever felt awkward like asking questions about someone's financial situation, but if you build great rapport, if you build a great relationship with people at the beginning of the demo, you can say just about anything, right? And that's what Bianca's going to be talking about in 2 weeks, is building that relationship. So highly recommend being on that call, right? But yeah, quick reminder, build great relationships with people. If you build great relationships and you actually give a crap, then everything else is going to work itself out in the back end. And so once you understand where they're coming from, you drop down accordingly, right? But you have to have that knowledge first, or else you're just going into the drop down blind and you come across as pushy and inconsiderate, which we're not about. Is anybody worried about coming across as pushy, inconsiderate, and like getting cussed out by somebody? Great. It's impossible to come across that way if you build a great relationship with your customers and if you truly try to understand where they're coming from. It's impossible. I've done thousands of demos. I've talked to thousands of customers. And every single time I've done it, when I really tried to understand where they're coming from and really came at it from a customer service standpoint, because guys, Cutco's going to sell Cutco. Like Tyler, the extent of which you sell Cutco is you write up the order. Okay. So therefore your real job is like, hey, let me take care of this customer. So when I found that I take care of the customer, I really approached it from that customer service mindset, then everything else worked itself out and I closed a lot more sales. So again, you need to understand where they're coming from, drop down accordingly, but you have to have that knowledge first, or else you're just going into the drop down blind. And as you're dropping down, it's okay to make suggestions to customers based off of what they do in the kitchen, right? And this is how to lead it up. Do you mind if I make a suggestion, right? Hey, what most of my customers do that, are in a similar situation as you is blank, right? Right? Do you mind if I make a suggestion? Great. What a lot of my customers like to do that are in a similar situation as you is go with blank, right? Remember, this would be good for your notes as well. This is kind of another mentality thing, but you are the kitchen expert. They are the experts of their kitchen. You are the kitchen expert. They are the experts of their kitchen. So be a consultant, right? No matter what they do in the kitchen, though, Cutco is the solution. Why? Because it's freaking Cutco. It's awesome, right? Everybody needs Cutco, and everybody that has Cutco needs more Cutco. I guarantee it, because a lot of my sales go to past Cutco owners. And every single one of them that has a crap ton of Cutco buys more Cutco from me because I show them all the cool stuff that it can do. And so that being said, know your names and uses, right? This is especially relevant at the pick 5 special, right? Has anybody ever had a customer that didn't pick 5 pieces? And you're like, what do I do? You're like, do I just go with the buy 3, get 1 free? Like, so remember, I'm going to go back to the point I just made. You are the kitchen expert. They are the experts of their kitchen, but that doesn't mean they're experts on your kitchen stuff. Okay. So your job is to consult them. And so that's when you're like, hey, Mrs. Jones, I noticed that you didn't pick 5. Do you mind if I make a suggestion on a 5th piece a lot of customers like to go with? And you do like a subtle nod smile. Hey, Ms. Jones, do you mind if I just make a suggestion? Great. So based off the pieces that you already have, I think to round off your set, the trimmer would be a really great tool. This is why. Hey, Mrs. Jones, I love the set that you picked. Honestly, if I had to pick 4 pieces, these are the 4 pieces I'd pick. But do you mind if I show you a 5th piece a lot of customers like to go with? It's the cheese knife. Now, let me tell you why. Right? It's the sticky, starchy, wet foods knife. You guys know generally about the cheese knife and such. And so for this section, everybody already knows all the homemaker pieces for sure, right? Because you've read through them dozens of times. But other than the homemaker pieces, have go-to tools, like the back of your hand, that you can also recommend, okay? Now, if you guys want my opinion, these are the pieces I suggest getting started with. All the signature pieces: Hardy Slicer, Petite Santoku, cheese knife. When you can sell the crap out of those 3, guess what? You start selling a lot more signature sets, right? Hardy Slicers, really good heavy-duty meat knife. Tri-tape carton asada, ribs on the barbecue, brisket, butternut squash, spaghetti squash, eggplant, cured meats like salamis and pepperonis. Mrs. Jones, it's like a wedge, and it just goes through the skin on the gourd really, really easily, right? It's basically the second heaviest knife that we make, and that's why a lot of customers get it. It's like a good everyday heavy-duty knife, and then the butcher knife is more for melons, frozen foods, and disjointing. Petite Santoku mini chopper, right? Cheese knife, sticky, starchy, wet food. And I always say with the Petite Santoku, by the way, I'm like, Mrs. Jones, everybody loves their chef knife, but not everybody needs all that real estate all the time. And that's why customers love the Petite Santoku. Like if you're fine mincing garlic, you don't need 8 inches of a knife, right? 5 inches is great for it. And then the cheese knife, Miss Jones, the #1 selling individual knife that we made for the past 20 years. It's designed for sticky, starchy, wet foods. The holes create air pockets. So when you cut through stuff that's wet, like potatoes, apples, cucumbers, zucchinis, lemons, limes, cheese, it doesn't stick to it, right? Ms. Jones, if you ever cut a potato and notice that the knife got stuck, even if they have Cutco, that's happened. Why? Because their trimmer, even though it's brand new, out of the package razor, has anybody ever noticed that potatoes like stick to themselves and are really difficult to cut through? Yeah, because it's a freaking potato and they're annoying, right? So that's why customers get the cheese knife, because it slides through like butter. And every time I did this at the booth or at the malls, I'm like, Mrs. Jones, check out this cheese knife. They cut through the potato and they're like, how many of that one can I get? I'm like, as many as you want, Mrs. Jones. I got a lot behind the booth. So guys, if you're not selling a cheese knife on every demo, you're not talking about the cheese knife. And then you can also add a couple of your favorite complete set pieces. I love the boning knife. I think it's a phenomenal knife for deboning chicken, butterfly, and pork, and all the raw meats and such. I like the Santoku style trimmer. I think that's a really, really good one, especially if they like the trimmer. 7-inch Santoku is good to know about. Vegetable knife is a really good heavy duty chopper. So you guys can pick what you feel is right for you, right? The shears, obviously, right? But the most important part of tailoring the demo to your customer is understanding them and using your skill and expertise to help them make a decision on how much Cutco would satisfy their needs in the kitchen, okay? So again, the most important part of tailoring the demo to your customer is understanding them and using your skill and expertise to help them make a decision on how much Cutco would satisfy their needs in the kitchen, all right? And so my last point is to soft close hard, all right? So I know this doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but it will make sense, all right? So just picture a dash in between soft close, right? So customers don't like to feel like they're being sold, right? They don't like to feel pressured, and I'm sure a lot of you can identify with that. So the key here when you're closing the sale is to be firm and confident with your words, but cool, calm, and collected with your demeanor. So the key here is to be firm and confident with your words, but cool, calm, and collected with your demeanor. So watch your tone of voice, how fast you're speaking, etc. So I know that every single time I've talked to a rep that's nervous about dropping down, they're always worried about what? I don't want to come across as pushy. I don't want to be too aggressive, right? I don't want the customer to hate me because I forced them into buying something they wouldn't want to, right? Guys, people want to buy Cutco. You just have to chill out, right? The only reason you come across pushy is if you're being pushy, right? So that's why you watch your tone of voice, right? Be relaxed. Hey, Mrs. Jones, no worries. We don't have to go with that at all. You guys noticed I'm very aggressive of a person. When I'm talking to Mrs. Jones, I slow down, right? So if you take anything away from this talk, here it is. No matter how slow you think you talk, slow the hell down. All right? You guys can just write that in all bold, all caps, double underline, slow the hell down. All right? You can never talk too slowly, in my opinion. So I'm like, and I specifically tell myself that because I know that, has anybody here ever gotten a little nervous when you're dropping down, when you're showing the next option? And so subconsciously, you will speed up. You will talk more quickly. And so just stop, take a deep breath, and slow down. Hey, Mrs. Jones, I completely understand where you're coming from. It doesn't seem like this special. It's a little out of budget, right? No worries. I completely understand. Let me just show you the next option a lot of my customers like to go with. Mrs. Jones, out of these 5 pieces, what is your least favorite piece? You guys notice how slowly I was talking? You guys like hanging on every word, but you notice like there's no way for me to come across pushy if my words are like 50 minutes apart. Okay? So just slow down. 1, it provides clarity, and 2, it's super low pressure, super low key. And those are the 2 most important things when you're closing a sale. And so another thing to help you guys with slowing down and stop being nervous is understand that you will close. Remember the confidence that we established in yourself at the beginning of the demo. So I think I heard something similar to this from Christina before. So I'm really glad she's talking next about emotional management. But remember that you are the best that you've ever been and the worst you ever will be again. So you are the best that you've ever been and the worst you ever will be again. I'm pretty sure that is not verbatim. So Christina, you have to correct me at some point. So understand that you are the best you've ever been. You've had the most experience in the job that you ever will. So have confidence in that fact and know that you're going to drop down in the proper way. And so own that. And the main thing to focus on is just showing all the options. Show all the options, right? And so you'll have customers that will say, I'll just wait and get the whole set later. Has anybody have a customer said that? Oh, Kevin, I'll just wait. I'll get the whole set later, right? Does anybody have a customer that was like, oh, I just want to get a couple pieces to start off and we'll go from there? Anybody had that? Oh, I hate both of those. Oh my gosh, they're so annoying. So when they say I'll just wait and get the whole set later, I say, Mrs. Jones, you could definitely do that, but you'd end up spending a lot more money and I wouldn't be able to give you as good of a deal later as I can do today. Do you mind if I show you some other options a lot of my customers like to start off with? You guys notice how I handled that? I'm like, hey, Mrs. Jones, you could definitely do that. So I gave them permission to do that. But this is why most customers don't. Do you mind if I show you all the options? Right? Do you mind if I show you other options a lot of my customers like to go with? And again, you say it slowly so it doesn't come up car pressure. And side note, nobody wants to be first. So emphasize how a lot of customers do blank to make the customer more comfortable with whatever option you're going with. And if you don't feel confident in your total customers, hey, Mrs. Jones, just so you know, a lot of customers end up doing blank. If they say, I'll just get a couple pieces and if I like them, I'll get the rest of the set later, right? Hey, Ms. Jones, you can definitely do that. But just so you know, the sets are definitely some of the best values because of the corporate discount we do on the package. So just for fun, can I show you what those would look like? If none of them appeal to you, then I can still give you the best deal possible on the pieces you're looking at. So you guys notice that 2 completely different objections, but I handled it the same way. Hey, I definitely understand you could definitely do that, but this is why customers go with these options. Just for fun, can I show you those options? And then drop down accordingly. So you want to give them confidence that either way, they'll be getting a great deal if they decided to get some Cutco today. And that's the main thing customers want is they want to know that they're getting a great deal no matter what choice that they're going with. And they want to know that they want to know that you're on their side. So Leo, when you're talking to the customer, make sure that you're on their side and coming from it from a service standpoint. And so be quick with your specials as well. utilize your app because why? It's awesome. Okay. And does the math for you really quickly. Okay. I memorized all the prices for all the individual pieces. And then you guys got an app. And I'm like, what the heck was the point of memorizing all these prices? So as you're building the wish list, guys, just put it directly into the app. Just like add them to the shopping cart while you're talking. And then you have all the numbers already. And you just like, okay, hey, this is what the price would be. This is the 5Pay. And build rapport while you're calculating the numbers as well, if it's taking a little bit longer. So ask a question about something relevant or something you're discussing earlier. So don't just sit there in silence like Paul. You don't want to just sit there and just be like in silence calculating some numbers, right? And so if you get pushback, by the way, like all the piece specials are awesome. So show all of them as if they're another set. And basically just have that mentality, no worries, let me show you what our next special would look like. And if you get pushback, not interested or not going to buy, emphasize that you understand and you just want to show them all of the options because customers are really open to seeing all the options. And you can always close on something. Always show them a trimmer on a 2Pay, right? Always show the reserve your buy now bonus. Trimmer on a 2Pay is $43. Everybody can afford that. So I had a customer that went around the whole house after being, 2 months was at her daughter's, it was like a Girl Scout camp and she hadn't had income in 2 months and she still had to pay all her house rent. And a lot of you would be like, oh my gosh, there's no way I can sell. She ended up going around the whole house to find cash to buy a trimmer from me. And then I talked to my manager about a way to do that, right? This is when I was at her house. It was a good friend of mine. And so there's always a way to close and customers will find it if you treat them the right way. So worst case scenario, you can always show them how to reserve their buy now bonus with a cutting board, right? So you say, sounds like you love Cutco, but now's a bad time. Do you mind if I show you one last option for reserving your buy now bonus and show them the benefits of the cutting board, how it's going to help their knives stay sharper longer and still helps you towards your goals. So the main reason I close on a cutting board is I'd rather have something than nothing. And I think we can all agree I'd rather have $20 than $0, all right, on the order. And so you want to present your prices with confidence. And I can talk more about how to over-explain the process of placing the order and handling objections, but I want to make sure we have enough time for Christina. And basically, you want to over-explain the process of placing the order and handle objections before they come out, right? I'm like, hey, Ms. Jones, with the holiday season, a lot of people like to do the 5Pay. And then they can't tell me, oh, because of the holidays. Hey, Ms. Jones, no worries. That's why I said a lot of customers do the 5Pay, right? So you handle it an objection before it comes up. And then after you close, go back to being a pro. Congrats. Welcome to the Cutco family. By the way, do you want dark or white handles? Monthly or in full? Will that be on Visa, MasterCard, American Express? Great. Go ahead and grab that for me. I'm going to just finish typing in some of the information. So act like you've been there before. And cool. So to wrap this up and do a nice little bow. So remember, everything starts with your mentality, right? Everyone loves Cutco and wants to buy Cutco. You have to tailor your demo to your customer. Every demo and every customer will be different, but you should still follow the same structure. Focus on understanding your customer and where they're coming from and soft close hard, right? Be firm and confident with your words, but be cool, calm, and collected while saying them. And I have the pleasure of bringing up Christina Latassa James. Okay, so Christina is awesome. All right. If I think about somebody that I'm constantly being challenged by to learn more, to grow more, and to grow my personal emotional intelligence, it'd have to be Christina James. Okay. She crushes me in personal growth and inspires me to be better every single day. And something that I feel like she's really excels in is this emotional management and how to do so. So I have the pleasure of bringing up the North Las Vegas District Manager, Christina James. Woo woo.
Thanks, Tommy. No, but Tommy's talk was great. I hope you guys got a whole bunch out of that. So now we'll be going more, I guess, into the personal growth aspect of things. So let me go ahead, share my screen and get that going for you guys. Okay, can you guys see everything okay? Cool. Okay, awesome. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started going over everything with you guys. and hope you get a lot out of it. Cool. So emotional intelligence, the reason why I think this talk is so important, just because I know in most places, most organizations, people will try to avoid talking about their emotions as much as possible. I know even in my own organization, my staff will try to avoid it as much as possible, just because, who the heck wants to talk about their emotions? It's way easier just to avoid those things. And the only reason why I think these are important is because you miss out on so much of yourself when you do, try to avoid all of your emotions. So in many organizations, leaders talk primarily from their head. And this is like their go-to for conversations. Just like, okay, cool. I'm just going to continuously talk from my head. I'm going to ignore, everything else. But great leaders and conscious leaders are going to learn how to access all three centers of intelligence. So pretty much almost everything I'm going to get my content from is from this book, 15 Commitments of Conscious Leadership. So this is what me and my team read. This is what we go over almost every single staff meeting for at least 20, 30, 40 minutes. And we talk about each commitment. One that they get a lot from, though, was that third commitment, talking about emotional management. Okay, so there are three levels and three centers of intelligence. So there's the head, the heart, and the gut. So like I said, most people are going to just use their head, and that is it. And they're going to ignore everything else. But where you get a lot of your emotional intelligence is going to be from that heart center. Okay. So I think the heart center is really, really important just because conscious leaders are going to value those feelings. They know that that's where they're going to get their greatest resources in decision-making, team building, creativity. But, a lot of other places will be like, okay, well, let's avoid emotions as much as possible. Just the facts. Like, emotions get in the way of great decision-making, and it's going to, conflict with all these other things, which to me, that just doesn't really make sense. I mean, David can't continue to go ahead and live his life and not feel any emotion at all. Like, that's just not possible. That's impossible to live. That's impossible to lead. Because we also talk about here in Vectors, leading from the heart is making sure that when we are leading, it's because we are caring about our people, it's because we come from a place of, emotion and from our heart center. And sometimes that's when our best leadership comes, is just from caring and loving on our people. And I think that's super important. So I think you're losing a great resource when you aren't using your emotions, when you're not feeling your emotions. So the first question I have for you guys is, are you willing to feel your emotions? Okay. Are you willing to feel your emotions? I think that's very important for you guys. So let's go ahead and dive in. So many studies have demonstrated that when it comes to sustaining leadership success, EQ, or emotional intelligence, is just as important, if not more important than IQ. Okay. We'll have another talk on this, I believe, in TLA that talks about like all the studies and the numbers there. But honestly, there are more people who will get hired because of their strength in their emotional intelligence than people who are just strong in intelligence, okay, of just being smart in things. What's really cool about EQ versus IQ, though, is your IQ is something that you're born with. You can't really change that, can't really shift it. Your EQ, though, is something you can continuously get better at. You can continuously grow. You can continuously raise this level, okay? So the first step to becoming emotionally intelligent is emotional literacy. Okay, so the first step is emotional literacy. There are two steps for emotional literacy. Super simple. Number one is just develop a clear and accurate definition of emotion. Okay, so develop a clear and accurate definition of emotion. So what is a feeling? Okay, really all a feeling is just emotion, energy in motion. Like that's all feelings are. They're just energy in your body and they're just moving around. Number two is identify the core emotions, which we'll get into. Okay, but you want to identify your core emotions. You want to name them for yourselves. Okay, so most of the time, your emotions are attached to sensations in the body. Okay, emotions sometimes people think are thoughts. Okay, but they are not thoughts. Okay, they don't start in your brain. They always are going to be in your body. So this is why it's important to understand the sensation in your body. I'm sure, if you just sit down and think about it, when you get angry, I'm sure there's a place in your body where you feel angry. And I know for me, it sounds kind of weird, but it's from like my shoulder all the way to my fingertips. I think it's because mostly it's when I'm driving. That's when I get angry. And so I feel like anger all the way from my shoulder to my fingertips. And when you think about when you get sad, maybe you feel it behind your eyes, you feel it in your throat. When you get scared, you feel it in the pit of your stomach. Okay, none of these start as thoughts. They all start as sensations. They all start as sensations in the body. So conscious leaders learn to connect their bodies and learn what it is trying to tell them. Honestly, though, is these emotions and these sensations come and go. Okay, they come and go. Sensations last like 90 seconds or less, which means they're neither good or bad. Okay, they're just a sensation. They're just energy. They're just, something flowing through you. Okay, because sometimes people think that emotions are bad. They only want to feel the good emotions. I only want to feel joy. Okay, that is it. I don't get angry. Okay? I don't get sad. And maybe I get scared because it's Halloween and I want to get scared. Okay, but most people try to avoid these sensations, but they're neither good or bad. Your body knows how to get rid of them as well. Okay, it knows how to ride them out and let them go. But some people try to override these emotions. Okay, they try to override the body. They're like, oh no, like I said, I'm not going to feel anger. I'm not going to feel sadness. No, I don't have time to feel those things. Or this is going to drag me down if I do try to feel these things. And this can be a lot of cause of suffering, because now you're basically like kinking up a hose and you're forcing the energy to just stay there. So instead of naturally releasing, which is what we do all the time, we breathe in, breathe out, like it's a simple thing, you force the energy to stay there. Okay? And that's when you kind of like sit in these emotions. That's when they recycle. That's when they repeat. Okay? That's when you get into those pits. And it's because you're not allowing your energy to just do what it's supposed to do. It's supposed to just ride through and release. Okay. So let's go into, there's 7 easy steps. And I know it sounds like a lot of steps. It really isn't. Some of these are really, really quick, but 7 steps on how to release an emotion. Okay. 7 steps on how to release an emotion. So number 1 is commitment. Okay, really, it's just that first question I asked you at the beginning of this talk. Are you willing to feel your emotions? Okay, it's that commitment to feeling your feelings. Because most unconscious leaders are not willing to do that, as they try to resist them. They try to judge them, apologize, repress, avoid all of their emotions. Okay, so that first step, you can't do anything else unless you accept this first, is I'm willing to feel my feelings. Number 2, you just name it. And you can use the ones I had here. You can name your own emotions, do whatever you like, but name it. And that's the second step, is name your emotions. Name the 5 core emotions. In my team, what we do every time I talk to them is I ask, hey, Deja, what are you feeling? I don't ask, how are you feeling? Because if you think about it, every time somebody asks, how are you feeling? You go, good. And there was one time I accidentally asked that where I was like, oh, how are you feeling? And I think it was one of my assistant managers, Christine. She was like, oh, I'm doing good. And I was like, okay, cool. And I was like, oh, wait, sorry, actually, what are you feeling? She's like, oh, well, actually, I'm feeling kind of frustrated and a little annoyed. She's like, and happy. And I was like, you literally just told me that you were good, but you're feeling frustrated, annoyed, and happy. Okay? I'm pretty sure those aren't all good feelings or even bad feelings. But it's an interesting thing is when somebody asks you, hey, how are you doing? You're like, okay, I'm good. Okay? But it's not really a real identifying what that emotion is. Okay, so naming those 5 core emotions. Sometimes people, even when I ask, what are you feeling? They give me a thought, okay, not an actual feeling. Okay, they say things like, well, I feel like you're missing the point. Or I feel like, this isn't going to happen. Or I feel like, anytime a sentence starts with, I feel like, or I feel that, okay, these are probably not going to be emotions. These are thoughts. And once again, your emotions are not thoughts. They don't start here. They start as sensations in your body. Okay, these are thoughts, judgments, beliefs, opinions. I want feelings. So the easiest way is just I feel and followed by one of the 5 core emotions. Okay, I feel anger. I feel fear. Feel sadness, joy, creative. Okay, it can be even a combination of things. I know I have combinations of feelings sometimes. Okay, so it could be a combination of those things, but name it. That's really, really important, is naming your emotion, identifying what it is. Next is locate it. Okay, where are you feeling it in your body? This one does take some practice. I'm not going to say immediately you're going to just be like, oh yeah, I feel anger here. I feel, sadness here. I feel joy here. Like it's not just going to be something that pops up, but start to just get in tune. Okay, when you do, so that's why it's easier first to name it. And I'll explain how this gets easier, but it's easier first to name it sometimes where you're like, "Oh, I'm feeling sad," and just sit for a second. Okay, where am I feeling that sadness? Okay, is it like a tightness in my chest? Is it, behind my eyes? Is it in the pit of my stomach? Where am I feeling anger? Okay, is my jaw getting tight? My shoulder is getting tense? Maybe for you, it's like my fingers as well, like the clenching there. Joy is actually, if I'm being open with you guys, it's sometimes a hard feeling for me to identify, but is it that in your core? Okay? Is it maybe in your spine, things like that? Okay? But where are you feeling these sensations in your body? Locate it, because this then allows you to, your body's actually going to feel the sensation first before you've actually identified the emotion. Like once you get really good at this and you start to master it, I did this when I was on a PC with one of my reps, Deja, and I was just sitting there and I was like, I feel these like a tingling in my stomach. I don't know what I'm feeling right now. I was like, but I know I'm feeling an emotion, and in just like a minute or two, I was able to identify. I was like, oh, I think I'm feeling excited. Okay. I'm feeling a lot of excitement, maybe a little fear in there, some anxiety. I was like, but I know what I'm feeling. And so I was able to identify it instead of just like pushing it off. I'm like, I think I'm just nauseous. It's fine. Don't worry about it. Okay. So I think that's important. And then you can describe it. Describe that emotion. What is it doing? The way it explains in the book is think of like these sensations in your body as little bits. And then what are the bits doing? It sounds weird, but it has helped me visualize it to like kind of identify what's going on. Are they buzzing, popping, twisting, pulsing, heating, pinching, swirling, whatever it is, but identify it. You could say what these bits were doing. What are they doing? Next is to welcome it. So this is usually one of the harder steps. Okay? And this one even seems counterintuitive because most people want to get rid of emotions. Like, I don't want to feel this. Like, what are you telling me to welcome it? That doesn't make any sense. Okay. But this is important because what we resist persists. Okay. What we resist persists. So especially for you people who are like, I don't want to feel anger, I don't want to feel sadness, any of that. Well, if you try to push it away, it's probably just going to stay there a lot longer. Okay. Welcome that emotion. Take a deep breath, like one of those full deep breaths. First step is really just allowing it. Okay. So can I allow this emotion to be there? Once you get to that level of mastery, you can start to accept that emotion or even appreciate the emotion being here. And you're like, wow, I appreciate what I'm feeling right now. Or I can even just accept that I'm feeling this emotion. But, allowing is sufficient enough. Next is to match it. Okay. If this emotion could make a sound or a movement, what would it be or what would it do? If you think about when you were babies, okay, all of you were babies, I would assume at least once, when you were babies and you were feeling an emotion, you screamed, you cried, you moved around, you wiggled, you laughed. Okay, this is literally the only way as humans that we were able to express what we were feeling. Okay, so like I said, if it could make a sound, what would it be? What movement would it do? Sometimes literally for me, is it just walking from here to like that side of the room? I'm like, cool. That's the next step of my like letting it go. Okay, sometimes you do need to cry. If I'm being honest with you guys, I'm a huge crier. Like I cry for almost every emotion because I just cry. But that's how energy moves in my body. Okay, and it took me a while to be like, hey, it's fine that happens. Okay, when I get really excited, I cry. When I get really sad, I cry. It's fine. Okay, but that's how the movement is for me. Okay, maybe for you, it's like a jumping up and down. Maybe for some of you, it's like a screaming into a pillow thing. Where you're like, hey, there's some emotions where this is how it has to get out of me. Okay, but match it. And then lastly, I think this is a really important step to kind of just understand your emotions as a whole, is questioning. Okay, question it. What is this emotion trying to show me? Now, it didn't just pop up for no reason. Because sometimes people think that I just got sad for no reason. I'm just angry for no reason. No, like your body's trying to tell you something. Okay, so what is it trying to tell you? For each of the emotions, they have little sections if you want to write them down because I didn't put them on the slide. Okay, but anger usually is trying to tell you that something has changed or ended. Okay? It's usually trying to tell you that something has changed or ended. It's no longer of service for you. Okay? Or maybe it's even telling you that a boundary needs to be set or an existing one has been violated. It's usually where anger comes from. Sadness. Okay? Sadness is usually trying to tell you that you need to let something go. And you need to grieve letting this go. Okay? You need to say goodbye to it, move on from it. Sadness is the energy of loss. Fear. Fear is actually telling you something needs to be learned or faced. Okay? Fear is basically your body saying, wake up, pay attention. Okay? Fear invites your full attention and presence. Okay? Sometimes it's even, I don't really know what I'm doing, and it needs your full awareness. And that's what fear is. Joy is usually just telling you something needs to be appreciated and celebrated. I've talked to my team about this. This is celebrating your little wins. Okay, laughed at. Somebody maybe needs a pat on the back, okay, or I guess a virtual high five. But I'm happy because the circumstances around me are good. Okay. And then lastly is creative. This just tells the leader that something new needs to be created, needs to be birthed, needs to come into the world. Okay? You know, feelings come and they go. Okay? Feelings come and they go, especially if we allow them to do that. They don't take 90 seconds, okay, of this feeling coming and leaving our body. But what they leave behind is a lot of wisdom and knowing. In a nutshell, feelings are one of the universe's greatest gifts to human beings. You know, they add richness and color to your life. When they're understood, enjoyed, and released, you know, and then having that curiosity of where is it coming from, they're going to be your essential ally as a leader and as growing in our business. And whether it be a leader in our business or a leader just in your own life and in your own relationships. So as I started my talk, as how I'm going to finish it, are you willing to feel your feelings?
Boom. That was fire. So great job, Christina. Give her a big round of applause right there. I definitely learned something about the feeling. I thought my feeling in my stomach was hunger, but it might be something different. So great job. All right. So I just want to wrap up this event. I thought this was a great morning. So thank you again, Tommy. Thank you again, Christina. Now, can everybody see my screen okay? Okay, cool. So I always want to talk about our Cutco Through College program, and something really exciting. Those of you guys that are like in the Leadership Academy group probably already saw this post, but Evan posted the earnings, the profit from all of our branch managers from this past summer, and it was incredible, right? Like I think the number one branch profited $72,000 in like 3 months. The number two profited $55,000 in 3 months, and then it goes on from there. But pretty much every branch manager profited this past summer, which is really exciting. I love where our business is headed. So our goal is to help everybody go through the Cutco Through College program. All right, I know some of you guys are full-time students, some of you guys are not students, but here's how it starts. All right, it's just getting to your dirty 30. All right, like dirty 30. Hitting that $10,000 in sales. That's where the job truly starts. All right. It's going to open up some more doors, some more opportunities for you. Then from there, then you can put in an assistant manager application, all right, intern application. Now to submit that application to your manager, that takes $6,000 in sales. And then usually you become like a full-fledged assistant manager around like $10,000 in sales. And then you can also interview to get into our leadership academy. And that's ran by the division manager, Evan Keller. And then from there, you can potentially become a branch manager. We want to create more of those branch managers. Like this year, we had really great branch managers, but we want to double that next summer. And then from there, as a branch manager, like all of us that you guys heard talking today, we started off as branches, right? Like Tommy was a branch, Christina was a branch, I was a branch. And from there, you can decide if you're like, hey, maybe I want to sell Cutco full time. Because the best way to get really good at selling Cutco is teaching people how to sell Cutco all the time. Maybe you want to become a district manager like one of us and be able to impact a lot of people all at once. And then from there, you can kind of decide where you want to grow. But definitely, if you are interested in a leadership opportunity, even if you just started, just reach out to your manager and ask him like, hey, what do I need to do to become an assistant manager? And then the last thing is remember to share your light bulbs. So the biggest compliment you can do for our speakers today is to share your light bulbs with the rest of the team. All right, because obviously we can't invite the whole team to the Key Staff event, but share what you learned today. Maybe it's one takeaway, maybe it's three, maybe you have a whole paragraph of takeaways that you want to share, but just post that into your team group chats. Your other teammates are going to really appreciate it, and your managers will appreciate that as well. All right, but we are all done with the Key Staff. Thank you guys for waking up. Go eat your cereal, your pancakes, your taquitos, and have a great weekend. Talk to you guys soon. Adios.